Focus on another big story of corruption that we saw in the last few years. And last month, a Mahikeng municipality official was the latest to be arrested in connection with the VBS Mutual Bank scandal. He joins 14 others facing the music in this matter, dubbed the Great Bank Heist. Many municipalities in Limpopo, Northwest and Gauteng lost nearly 1.6 billion rand. And ordinary citizens, including pensioners, lost thousands of rand in life savings when the bank collapsed in 2018. Let's discuss this with eNCA business anchor, Rofhiwa Madzena. Rofhiwa, thank you for joining us. And you've been working this story for quite some time, just tracking the situation. And I think the biggest question, where did the money go?
That is a big, important question. So Advocate Terry Modao's report, you'll remember, dubbing it the Great Bank Heist, released his report and he indicated that 53 people and companies had been implicated in the Great Bank Heist. And I just want to show you some of the important numbers. We won't get into all 53 of them, but some of the important numbers here are that Vera Investment Group got over 900 million rand. We also saw that the founder of the bank, or the CEO, as well as the chairman, pocketed over 325 million rand, and then of course the CEO got about 28 million rand. And of course we saw that we had municipalities, as Tulas has just mentioned, that had put money in, and there were others that were benefiting from the looting. And this is quite a sad story because there are people whose livelihoods were completely shattered. A gentleman lost about 6 million rand, money that he's never going to get back. And that's the big problem here, Tulas. Normal, ordinary people who invested their entire life savings in the bank lost everything. And then, of course, as that famous 7 million rand loan that the former President Jacob Zuma took out. So that's where some of that money went. It was reported a couple of years ago that he was in arrears and was no longer able to pay back that loan. So that's where just a general overview of where some of that money went.
There are a few things that infuriate me, Rofhiwa, before we talk about progress in as far as the investigation is concerned. Two that I can single out. They bought cars. They bought cars, Rofhiwa, with people's monies.
Yep.
People wanted to fund the education of their children. They'd been saving some since the 80s, since the early 90s, thinking, you know, we're in a poor household. We don't have much. But if I can put 100 rand in VBS, 200 rand this month, it will grow into something. They took it and bought SUVs for themselves.
Yep.
That's the one that really infuriates me. The second one, municipalities had no business putting money in a mutual bank, yet they did it.
They did it, and people were paid quite hefty sums of money to keep that on the down low, if I could put it like that. So allow us to do business with the municipalities, and of course people were getting paid to then hide the books in terms of what was going on. And apparently they were insolvent. VBS was insolvent in 2017 already, but you had these really smart chartered accountants, the CEO and some of the executives that were so good at cooking the books that it was not seen, you know, getting signed off by KPMG, which was also implicated, one of the senior executives there who was watching the books.
Yeah, those are the people that bought cars.
Exactly. There was a famous Ferrari, which I think was bought for about 6.5 million rand, a lovely red car there. So that is the lay of the land in terms of where exactly this money has gone to.
No
us.
scruples whatsoever. So where do things stand then in terms of accountability, Rofhiwa, at this point?
Well, you mentioned in your intro that we have some who have been arrested. In fact, the trial is supposed to start next week for the 8 that have gotten bail, between 10 and 100,000 rand bail. They've all been given. So those proceedings are supposed to start next week. And of course, we're probably going to see some convictions where this matter is concerned. Another important thing is that I caught up with the liquidator, Mr. Anush Ruplal, this morning, just to get a sense of what's happening with the monies that people are owed and what they'll be getting back. So they're in a process within the liquidation process where they are collecting all the assets, so the cars to us, the houses, and they're collecting as much as they can in terms of giving that back to the people who saved. It's not certain the exact amount that's being collected yet, but they will come to a process where they reach the end of the liquidation and then they distribute the monies that they were able to recover. For now, people are are just waiting. They are in constant communication with the liquidator, and that's what the update was. They had a meeting with them, and we'll see how much money they are able to get back. But apparently, it's been a very, very difficult task for the liquidator, Chilas, in terms of recovering any money that was lost during the bank heist. And of course, some of the stuff is unrecoverable. People sold before they got caught. So it's a big, big story, and this is something that we continue to cover.
Yeah, they took monies that people meant to build futures with and bought things that depreciate so they can show off and make a loud arrival at parties and drink champagne, etc., etc. Anyway, Rofhiwa,
that's what it is. That's our country.
This is the state we are in. Rofhiwa Madzena, eNCA business anchor there, looking at the VBS situation. Just another piece of the puzzle that we are putting together for you. And believe you me, we will never relent, really. So it is what it is. Those who need to hold people to account better get used to it, that we will keep nudging at you, to remind you of the task that you have at hand to ensure that there's accountability for this corruption.